All right, the 2026 winter season is over. We have a champion. Good game. It kind of, in the second half, went away. Kind of turned into a little bit of a blowout in that third quarter, leading into the fourth. But we have our champions. We're going to talk about it. I'm joined by Matt, Steven here for the final show this season. We're going to talk about the finals, and then we'll talk about All-Star Week. We'll talk about our predictions for the three-point, for the dunk contest, for the All-Star game. But maybe we'll even take a little look into the next season, talk about it. But yeah, we'll go right into our first and only game. That was the finals. It was Who's Next versus We Got Us. And Who's Next took it. They are the 2026 Winter Champions to cap off their undefeated season. 71-54 over We Got Us. I mean, We Got Us, the first couple weeks, we never would have seen them here. I think they went 0-2 in the start, and they looked rough. I think they lost by 30 week one to the Glock boys. And we didn't know they had Jamari and Derek in their back pocket, because they showed up a couple weeks in and changed the whole vibe for We Got Us. But then other guys couldn't come, and it was up and down until the playoffs when they started playing some of the best legacy basketball Massachusetts has seen. For them, Jamari led the way, 23 points, 8 rebounds. Derek, 17 points. And we can't talk about his defense enough. He had 6 steals. We were talking about it. That might be a record for playoffs. That's not set in stone. We'll have to look into it, but that was a crazy number. 2 blocks as well. And for Who's Next, I mean, I said it last week on the podcast. EJ Pemberton, 38 points. He shot 13 for 18, 8 for 10 from 3-point. They got him going, and he didn't stop the whole time. He was just racking it up. To help him along the way, Angel and Kevin were the only 2 others in double digits. Angel with 11, Kevin in 10. Kevin getting his first chip. I'm happy for him. Losing 3 in a row is tough, but he came out on top on this one, so I'm sure he's happy, and I'm happy that I'll say our curse is lifted, because I was rocking with him all those times, and I jinxed him and cursed him, but the curse has been lifted. Kevin is a champion, and so is EJ, Angel, Musa, CJ again, Darwin again, Yala for the first time. They lost last season, along with Jamal, Jay Sean, all those guys now champions. And it was an exciting game. Steven, I'm gonna go to you. Talk about what went well for Who's Next. Talk about EJ a little bit, but talk about everything else.
Yeah, no, there was definitely a lot of things that went well for Who's Next. Obviously EJ, we talked about him going 1 for 6 last time against this team. And, we were talking about Derek could be the game changer here, which is kind of a reason why I actually chose We Got Us. So I'm currently 0 for 1 in my finals predictions, but it's all right. I'll keep my head up high. But something that's funny about EJ is he actually was the first person to show up to the court that yesterday. And me and Keegan were talking like, oh, maybe he's getting shots up pretty early, because he was there like a good 10 minutes before the next person. But instead of getting shots up, he actually sat on the bench and started eating Sour Patch Kids, which I thought was kind of funny. But I mean, hey, it gave him almost a 40 bomb. So I mean, I guess it
Maybe
worked
that's the
out.
trick. That's the
It
trick.
might be. I don't know. I mean, I'm more of a Sour Patch Watermelon kind of guy. I think that those are probably like the top tier of the Sour Patch. But regardless of that, something that I do find kind of interesting with Who's Next play last night was, we've been talking about Darwin like pretty much all year being really good at 3-point percentage, being just the facilitator for that offense. He only finished the game with 2 points. And those 2 points came pretty early. Once We Got Us was up by 5, I believe Darwin was the one who got who broke up that 5-0 run. But just again, the depth of this team that we talked about last week on the podcast really just helped out. Shooting 70% in the finals is, that's almost unheard of. It's unbelievable. 56 from 3, 75 from the charity stripe. I mean, it's beautiful. It's just great basketball. And it's not like We Got Us played bad either. they played a very good game. They really kept who's next on their toes for sure. Even though they shot 27% from the three ball, that's kind of what killed them in that. They just, not really taking the best shot, really getting the momentum right back to EJ. You miss a shot, get the rebound, instant assist to EJ. As soon as he passed half court, I mean, he was letting it fly. So it was definitely fun to watch, especially with the we had a great crowd there last night too. They were really funny. They had a comment for everything, and it was fun to see EJ kind of feed off that energy. It was something we've really never seen this year in Legacy so far. It was different, and it was really fun to watch.
Yeah, it seemed like this was the peak that EJ's played at. We really haven't seen him get more than 30, I think, in a game. So this was cool to see, and it felt like he has been playing in this for the last 3 seasons. But yeah, he really took control of this game. Um, and wow, shooting 80% from 3 point in the finals. I mean, there's only so much you can do too on defense. I mean, he was shooting them so deep, and they were setting good screens. He was shooting off the screen, off the dribble, catch and shoot. No matter what it was, he was letting it fly, and it was going in. Um, but yeah, he feeds off the energy of the crowd and the energy of if no one was talking on We Got Us, the crowd is what got EJ going, and he's just the kind of guy that kind of once he gets hot in it, like whether that's in his own head talking to someone, whether he's hot, mentally or on the field or on the floor, it just shoots him up like a whole nother level, a whole nother tier of play. And he played out of his mind starting that second quarter and throughout the rest of the game. He got sat, I think, after like 6 or 8 points in a row. In the second quarter, he easily could have had a 50 bomb tonight. But he sat like the second half of the second quarter, and he easily could have had 50 tonight. He was going out of his mind. I don't think he needed a rest, but I saw when he got subbed out, he didn't really want to. He wanted to go back out. I really think he could have played the rest of this game and dropped 50, and it would have been a game we would talked about. We would have talked about, the next 3 finals will be like, oh, remember when EJ dropped 50? But 38 is nothing to be disappointed by. He played out of his mind. A couple of statistics to look at. Um, Who's next actually turned over the ball 9 more times than We Got Us. And Who's Next only had 4 steals compared to We Got Us 13. Um, but it was like the other statistics like rebounds 28 to 17 for Who's Next, so they out rebounded them by 11, and then obviously the shooting. Shy Hicks is usually a guy that's averaging 15 plus for We Got Us. He only had 8. Not the best shooting night at all for him, but I feel like that kind of got countered by Darwin. Darwin didn't have the best shooting night, and we're seeing him get a lot. So I feel like that kind of balanced itself out. But the whole rest of the team, the 3 point was Who's Next shooting 56 from the 3 point, and then We Got Us shooting 27. So that was definitely the game changer, and that was carried by EJ. That whole statistic was completely EJ. I think the rest of the team only made one 3 pointer for Who's Next. Um, yeah. Matt, I'll give you a chance to talk. Talk about We Got Us a little bit. Talk about what you've seen from them in the season. Talk about how they grew, and maybe what's talk about something they could have done or a player or something they could add to get a finals win here. Mike.
I think sometimes the finals is just a big moment, and sometimes, regardless of what your experience in the past, new league, it's a new moment, being in sort of a big game like that in a new league, and sometimes it just doesn't go the way you planned. Shy didn't shoot super well. Um, you know, it's a tough matchup, especially when you have, EJ Pemberton having his Reggie Stewart, his Mike Davis, his, if you were at the Rhode Island game, his Noah James moment, sort of playing really, really well in that big moment. Um, those are just, tough things. You got to shoot the three. They didn't shoot the three super well. They weren't anywhere near as good at just a general shooting as, Who's Next. And those are things you have to do. There's a championship pedigree on the other side, and there wasn't a lot of room for error, and some things didn't go the way they had hoped. But it was a great season. You know, a bunch of new players sort of added to this league that you have a lot of reason to be excited about playing more in this league. It's a team that's just going to that got better as the season went along, and I think you can expect them to be better the next time they play.
Yeah, I want to see some of these guys who make a comeback. I want to see Derek come and continue to improve, even on defense, if he even can. I want to see Jamari. I think he adds a whole nother level of entertainment to each game, whether that's on or off the court. He's talking, and it's fun to watch. So those guys add so much. Who's next? These guys have been around. So it's kind of like when the Celtics lost to the Warriors in that championship. A brand new hot team. They're destined to win in the future, but right now it's the veterans who won and the guys who have been here before and have that experience with winning and losing both. um, who's next? We talk about their veteran status and how much winning this group of guys have done outside of just this team, but these guys have lost. All of them have lost in the finals or before the finals. So none of the Darwin's lost, I think, 2 games his entire legacy season or legacy career, but one of those was in the playoffs. And even when you only have 2 losses, you learn from those losses, and it helps you bounce back to get championships like this. So all those guys, we talk about this team stacked. This team's an all-star team, but they've all lost before, and they're a beatable group of guys, all of them. But together this season, no one was able to prove that. But I mean, we got us is like a piece away from beating this team, and even if Jamari shoots a little bit better, Shai shoots better. This game is a single-digit game and could have came down to the wire, but they weren't able to turn those turnovers into transition buckets. Yala did a great job on defense. I think we didn't really touch on him too much, but he had a great game on defense. He always is. Darwin keeps calling him Defensive Player of the Year. If he played the whole season, that very well could have been a thing because he has some great blocking ability in the paint. Yeah, not much more to be said really. Who's next? Undefeated season. Whether they come back to defend that title in the summer, I'm not sure. I hope we see everyone back, but you never know what the future holds. But I'm excited, even if Who's Next breaks up and goes back to like 3 different teams like they were in the summer. I'd love to see more like spread out talent from the rest of the league rather than just everyone being on one team. Because if we got like a 10 team league with like an all-star 2 from every team, that would just be the most fun to watch. And not making it difficult on us to pick a winner every single week for every single matchup would be so fun. And I hope the talent gets spread out. I don't want to see, too many super teams. No one wants to watch like the Warriors win 5 championships in a row with Kevin Durant. But that being said, we'll move on. Yeah, congratulations, Who's Next, and all those guys who've won it. Shout out them. Shout out EJ for our Finals MVP. I don't know if we even said that. I don't even know if it had to be said, but 38 points. Yeah, Finals MVP EJ, probably the best we've seen a player play in the finals. In Massachusetts, he played out of his mind. And yeah, we'll cut it off there. 2026 regular season playoffs done. We'll talk about the All-Star now because that's all we really got left, and then whatever comes in the future. But we'll talk about the All-Star game right now. We'll do like our picks for slam dunk, and then we'll do our picks for 3-point, and then we'll talk about the All-Star teams and who we think's gonna win. We'll go into slam dunk because this is, there's a lot of guys who can dunk on here. There's a few guys who I think can dunk a little more than the others. So we'll talk about it. We have past winner Zach Pinkney coming back to defend his title. I know he only played 1 game in the regular season, but Joey told me I think he is coming back for this. So I really want to see him, especially because I feel like he had so much left in the tank after last dunk contest, and he just didn't need to do it all. So yeah, he was like a mix of Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine. Like his dunk selection was just out of this world. It was crazy. So I feel like Steven, you and me might be leaning towards Zach, but since he's defending, we'll pick our either if we think Zach's gonna win this, we'll pick who we think is gonna give him the biggest challenge. So, and you, Matt, if you were gonna go with Zach, we're just gonna go with who we think's gonna go toe to toe with him, who's gonna be in that finals round with him. Matt, I know you weren't you were you at the All Star game last season?
I was. I photographed the All-Star game last season.
So you saw Zach's dunks, so you know what he can bring to the table. So do you got the list of guys in front of you for the dunk contest? I can list them out if you
Yeah.
want. All right, you got them.
Yep.
I mean, I'll list it out for the people watching. So it's Zach. Then we got Monty Weaver, Derek Revelis, EJ Pemberton, Kwame Bell, Shy Hicks, and Shaq Murray. A lot of guys, a lot of dunks this season, a lot of explosiveness. Matt, who do you think is going to give Zach a run for his money?
There's a lot of guys here that I think could be very interesting picks. EJ, Kwame Bell are all really interesting picks. Um, I instinctually lean to Derek Revelis. You saw in the finals, 6 steals, freak athlete. I'd really like to see what he does. I mean, you look, you can't tell me he brings a football and he makes a one-handed grab and slams in the hoop that's not the winning dunk. I don't care what Zach does. That's like the viral moment. That's the winning dunk in my mind. So I'd say Derek, bring a football. Do something with a football.
Wait, Derek, that's actually such a good idea. If catches a football in one hand, catches the ball in the other, and throws it in. I don't know. Bring a football, Derek. That would be crazy, and you got to credit Matt for that. Unless he already somehow had that plan, but that is a great idea. We need to see props. Somebody brought out a ladder in Connecticut. We need to see props. We need to see a cape. Someone bring a cape. Someone do something. Um, bring a secondary jersey. Bring a Vince jersey. Bring a Superman cape. Do something.
Wear the football gear.
Wear a football helmet. Yeah, do whatever. We want to see some cool dunks. We want to get the crowd going, get people involved. We want to actually flesh this out, make it something. We want to make it better than the NBA. I know they've been slack in the last few years, so we want this slam dunk contest to fill that hunger we've been waiting and been wanting from the NBA. So let's make this an incredible slam dunk. Steven, talk about who you think is going to give Zach a run for his money. If it's anyone besides Derek. I mean, I think Derek's the next up, in my opinion, too. Just that vertical, he might have the highest vertical next to Zach, or we might have to test him out in the middle of the dunk contest to see who's got the better vertical. But talk about that. If there's another player in there that you want to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I do, but I gotta ask, like, did the guy just pull up with a ladder? Like, where did he get the ladder?
Yeah, in Connecticut. I have no idea. I just was watching the stream and some guy brought out a ladder. So I
That's
don't know
funny.
where he got it, but it was funny.
Okay, so yeah, stakes are high, I guess. Um,
People want it.
you know,
People want it.
I was gonna mention Revelis. Oh, I would too. But I'm gonna give who I think would be second. I'm gonna say kind of a sneaky pick. I'm gonna say Shaq. I think Shaq Murray has sneaky hops. He's. I mean, yeah, like it's kind of tough to like judge what the dunk contest is gonna look because like 8.5 foot rims. I mean, anything's possible. Like I feel like if you just have a high vertical, like you can do anything that you want with the size of the rim. And I'm gonna say like kind of an underrated thing about Shaq's dunking is like he punches the ball hard, which is very needed for a good score. There's definitely room for how hard you punch the ball, and I think
Definitely.
Shaq definitely does that better than the rest of the people on the list. But I'm gonna say Shaq could be a underrated person to look at.
You know who punches the ball is Amadi.
Yeah.
I'm scared for the rim sometimes when Amadi dunks.
Okay.
He's you know he's got yelled at by the refs a few times for almost destroying the rim. So Amadi's somebody who can punch it. Um, Shy's thrown down some dunks on people this season too. Um, you know EJ. I mean, we saw him shoot 8 3-pointers, so we didn't really get a good taste of how he can dunk this game. And I don't know if we've seen his hops. He's got hops, um, and he's definitely a sneaky pick, but I haven't really seen anything too crazy from him. Someone we have seen crazy dunks from that I think is a sleeper pick if he shows up is Kwame Bell. It's the smaller guys that do better on these 8.5-foot rims. So, that's why I'm kind of counting out Amandi, Shai, EJ a little more than Kwame, Derek, Zach, because I think these smaller, quicker guys in Shaq have a tendency to win these things. Terrence has won like 5 of these. The guy in Connecticut, I think Jacob Morales, he won this I think 2 or 3 times, and he's a smaller guy. So it tends to be a smaller guy who wins these kinds of things. So I'm leaning towards a guard. My pick is Zach. I mean, after what I saw last season, I can't not pick him. But I think Kwame has flown under the radar for us, and he's actually um, pretty high up there in my picks. I think top threes, Zach, Derek, Kwame. I think any of them can throw down some crazy dunks. But either way, come out, have fun with it. We want to see cool dunks. We want to see props. We want to see everything. Derek, bring a football, please. That's such a good idea. All right. Yeah, we'll go into our 3-point contest, which I think is so much harder to pick than the slam dunk. Because some of these guys have won it before, and some of these guys are new to the league, but we just saw one of them go 8 for 10 in the biggest game that he's played. So we'll talk about it. 3-point contest. We got Darwin returning to defend that title, and then we got Sean returning to reclaim that title, and then we got Jared returning to reclaim that title that he lost to Sean. So Jared won it, I think, first season, then Sean, then Darwin. So yeah, I think I might be missing someone. I might be, but yeah, crazy 3 right there. But then we have Shaq who shoots lights out from 20 feet behind the arc, and then we got Shai who, as Ant would say, shoots a 3-point like it's a layup. And then James Fleming it was a streaky shooter for OTM, and I think he is not someone to count out, because if he gets 4 in a row, he could turn into 8 in a row. And then EJ. I mean, I was leaning towards a couple guys over EJ for this, but after that 3-point performance last night, I don't know. Matt, we'll go to you or no, Steven, we'll go to you first because Matt went first for the dunk. So talk about it. Who do you think is going to pull away? We don't even have to. You can still choose Darwin because I know we were kind of leaning away towards Zach because he was definitely the favorite there. But a lot of these guys are possible.
I mean, no, you definitely bring up a good point about EJ, going 8 for 10. But I got to stick with my gut. I'm going to go with Darwin. I mean, I don't think there's really an explanation needed. It is Darwin. Um, but it also, like, kind of an underrated thing about a 3-point contest. It's like, it's not like what we saw from EJ in the finals is it was a lot of off the dribble shooting. 3-point contest really isn't like that. It's not really off the dribble at all. So I'm gonna keep that into an account. Unless he eats Sour Patch Kids before the 3-point contest, then it might be a little bit of a toss up.
He might. He
But
might.
I mean, he's got to, right? He absolutely have to. The local 7-Eleven is not safe. But I got to go with Darwin. I mean, I've had it since since we talked about there was a 3-point contest in Legacy. So I got to stick with Darwin for that.
Yeah, I mean, good pick. Can't go wrong with Darwin. Matt, who are you thinking?
My relationship with the 3-point contest is kind of interesting. Like, I often want to pick guys and put guys in it who, I don't know, with the dunk contest, there's a lot of footage on that, but sort of 3-point shooting can kind of be a sneaky kind of under the radar sort of skill in this league in some ways. It can get buried in the stats a little bit, the way they're recorded. There's 2 names that I'm the most interested in. The first one is Sean Yard, clear MVP candidate this year. His team, wasn't quite where you'd like to be maybe. I'd really like to see him go and do well. I'd really be really happy if he ended up winning that contest. But the other name is James Fleming. James Fleming was a player who, I wanted to see play more. I wanted to see get more shots, and it didn't always quite work out that way. I'd really be happy to see him come in and really show out. So I guess I have to pick the two. I think James Fleming is the one that jumps off that I think I'm the most interested in.
Yeah, I mean, any of these guys I think are good picks, but um, you know, Steven said Darwin, so I can't say Darwin, but I would have gone Darwin because I went Darwin last season, and I think the season before. So I would stick with Darwin. I mean, he's just one of the best shooters I think on probably 10 foot and 8.5 foot in this league. Um, Sean is also a great pick. He's won it before. Jared, I think he's won like 5 of them in Rhode Island and 1 in Massachusetts. So also a good pick. But those are a bit easier picks. You know, the ones that won before. Um, EJ, I think might have made it too easy to pick him, so I don't want to be picking him either. But I think this might be crazy, but I'm gonna go Shy because listen. We said EJ had a bad shooting night. He went 1 for 6 the last time they played. We got us. Look what happened when he came back in the final. He shot 8 for 10. Shy didn't have a great shooting night last night, so maybe he left the season, shooting bad. So he's gonna be like, I can't go into the summer not shooting hot. So I think he's gonna come into this 3-point contest and really want it. He wants to walk away with something from this season, even if it's an All-Star trophy. It still means something when there's nothing left to win for the regular season. So I think he's gonna want it, and I think he's the best catch and shooter. I don't think this is timed. So I think they can take their time. So if EJ wants to dribble the ball backwards and come back and shoot it from like half court, he could. But please don't. That would take forever. But I think Shy is just he's so consistent when he is. Um, like we saw in that semifinals game, it was just catch, shoot, and in that motion of just picking up the ball and coming up and shooting it. I think he's just going to get into a rhythm. I think he's going to be hard to beat. We're gonna see. I don't know. I can't see any of these guys like failing. We've had some times and only like some guys only got like 8 points or something, but I see all these guys shooting lights out. But if I can't pick Darwin, I'm going Shy. Um, yeah, EJ made it too easy for me to pick him. I can't pick him. Sean, Jared have won it plenty of times, so I think it's a new person's coming to the table. I think it's gonna be Shy. Shaq and James are great too, but I'm gonna stick with Shy. Go someone different. Um, yeah. So that does it for the slam dunk 3-point contest, and we talked about it a little bit. I know you guys weren't there during the All Star draft, but we talked about it, and I made my pick for All Star for the All Star game. I stuck with Amandi. I just thought some guys on Team Darwin might not show up, and maybe there'll be replacements, maybe there'll be reserves. I'm not 100% sure how that's going to work yet. Besides Darwin, EJ, I think Amandi just has a lot of guys that are going to have fun in an All-Star game, and I think they're going to be able to capitalize on just fast breaks and even a little bit of defense. I think Amandi's got Derek, right? Yeah. Amandi has Derek and Gio, and Quandale, along with Leon, who I think is an underrated defender. Yeah, I think there's a lot of sneaky guys on Team Amandi, and defensively, I think they um, are kind of the guys that poke balls loose, and that's what Derek does. And Gio's a good around the rim as well as Quandale. He plays aggressive around the rim, so I think that's going to be a little bit of something we don't usually see in All-Star game. Might throw Team Darwin for a loop, but um, yeah, I just see Amani's team coming out on top. But Steven, you pick a winner here. Who you got? Team Darwin, Team Amani?
I mean, I think it's Amandi's team. I just think they're better defensively. Just looking at the names on the paper. I mean, you bring up a good point. You look at their roster, right? You got Derek, who just had 6 steals in the finals. You got, I mean, Bush Carter. He's probably I want to say he's the tallest player on this board. So there's your interior force. And you got Gio, Amandi. They've been playing with each other all season. Canton, like a really good player. And you got Sean Yard and Alan Leonard, who have both been very good I mean, even though they got first rounded in the playoffs, Leonard, I think, had 30 points. So, I mean, they're stacked all around. It's definitely going to be a good game, though. I'm excited to see it. Because, again, EJ, anything can happen. You know, he can drop 38 if he wants to. Jamari, really good player, good scorer. Serenio, Darwin, they've been playing with each other all season. And then you got the two front courts of Kwame Bell and Josh Monty. So it's definitely a great team on their part as well. I just think I got to go with Amandi, just because I feel like he wants it so bad after losing to We Got Us. So I'm gonna go with Amandi on this one.
Yeah, he's definitely hungry. He hasn't played in a couple weeks, so he wants to come out and play before the break. So he definitely wants to lay it all out there. Matt, who are you leaning towards?
I mean, I'm instinctually looking at the roster. I'm drawn to Team Amandi, like, and I mean, just, I mean, Gio's on this team. I think Gio is the funniest player in legacy leagues. Just some of the things he says in the court are like make you like almost like drop your camera. So I'm instinctively drawn to him. Just I think that could be a really, I don't know. It brings out a lot of good qualities that he has at a game like that, I think. But I just, looking at Team Darwin, there's something about Darwin plus Shy plus EJ that I Darwin's going to play real hard. It's his team. I think he's going to take that seriously, and I think EJ's kind of locked in and wants to do well. And I don't know, when Yala was hurt, when I was saying who would I replace him with, the name that just kept coming in my head is I'd replace him with Shy. I think he'd be a really interesting sort of to add to that mix. There's something about those three players that I just can't overlook. I'm going Team Darwin.
Yeah, I mean, Legacy has a tendency to lean towards those teams that get the reserve players because some of them just come out and play out of their minds. So if like I know Jamari hasn't been able to come to those 10 o'clock games. Kwame's been traveling, so I'm not sure if they're gonna make it for Darwin. So who knows if the reserves come for Darwin and just play out of their minds. But yeah, either way, it's gonna be a fun game. I really like the chemistry across the teams. I think they're gonna have fun and just yell at each other and yeah, hopefully see a bunch of crazy dunks. Yeah, that about wraps it up for the All Star talk. Yeah, I think that's it, boys. That's it. Summer season coming up. It's gonna be interesting. Can't wait to see what the teams look like. And a lot of guys have been asking what if I'm gonna play or not. But I want to get my boys back, but it might be hard to convince them since we've only won one game in 2 seasons. So, but if anybody's looking for a guy to ride the bench and give some positive vibes, I'm gonna be a free agent if anybody wants me. But yeah, and I'll give us good love on the podcast. Um, and maybe the rest will like me more. Who knows? Yeah, but future's bright for Legacy League's 10th year anniversary for the league coming up in the summer as well because it was the winter and now the summer. So a lot of fun ahead. Um, Thank you guys for joining me. You guys have been the two most consistent guys on the pod. So shout out Steven, shout out Matt. Thank you guys for joining me all season. Shout out to the guys who've watched us and yelled at us and yelled at Steven for making crazy Cinderella picks and all our picks. Thank you for keeping us on our toes each week and making it hard to make our picks. So thank you guys for tuning in. I've been your host, Cade. Peace.